Hey everybody, we are live. Welcome to another edition of Boston Straight Shooters. I'm your host for this evening, Steve, aka Negative Ned. Frank is away on business again, so we'll do our best to hold down the fort for him while he's away. This is the show we talk about Boston sports. We talk about the Patriots, the Bruins, the Red Sox, and the Celtics, and get you all caught up to speed on the goings on for the week. Uh, I am going to post the link now so you guys can join the show before we get started. Here we go. Hold on. What would the show be without technical difficulties from yours truly? uh, it never fails. Uh, okay, we got that. Yeah, we got this. Here we go. All right. My apologies. It's a lot easier when Frank is here, so that I can focus on doing that. The multitask thing doesn't work. So, without further ado, let's get started. We're going to talk about first. We're going to talk about the Red Sox because they are on the verge of making the playoffs. I have mixed emotions about it, which we'll get into a little bit later. But surprisingly, they've won 4 of their last 6, and they hold the second wild card spot with a 2-game lead over Detroit, who is in the 3rd spot, and they are only a half a game ahead of Houston, who's in the 4th spot. So Houston won today, and Detroit is sinking like a rock. Since August 24th, they have blown a 12.5 game lead in their division, and they are now in 2nd place. And Cleveland has won like 15 of their last 17 or some ridiculous numbers like that, and overtook them for 1st place. So all the Red Sox have to do tonight is win, and they're in the wild card. As we were just getting ready to come on, they were down 1-0, and Toronto had the bases loaded. So negative Ned got a negative Ned, and I'm going to say that it doesn't bode well for your Red Sox so far. We'll see, but you know, this is it. They have Toronto tonight, and then they have their last 3 games of the regular season: Friday, Saturday, and Sunday against Detroit. And I really hope that they don't do a gag job, lose tonight, and then somehow lose the last 3 or whatever it is, and choke it away, and be forced to miss the playoffs. And Detroit, who's scratching and clawing and fighting for their lives, ends up beating them. That would be a major catastrophe. The 12-game lead that Detroit has blown has never been done before, and as I like to negative Ned remind people, the biggest choke that I have seen in my lifetime is 1978 when the Red Sox had a 14-game lead in August, and they blew it and lost the lead to the Yankees, and they had a 1-game playoff to decide the division, and the Red Sox lost that game here at Fenway. So, listen, I don't want them to. On one hand, I don't want them to lose out. I do want them to make it. I think that it's badly needed for a team that's finished in last place the last few years, or 3 out of the last 5, or whatever it is. Just lost my train of thought. Bear with me. Sorry about that. They listen. They have a shot to the ballpark needs buzz. They need October baseball around here. We need something to feel good about with the Patriots crapping out and the Bruins finishing where they finished last year badly. So the Red Sox have really needed some good news, and hopefully they'll get it in the next either tonight or in the next few games. and get in. I'm probably going to remind everybody again, so I'm going to say it now anyway, just in case I forget. At the very beginning of the year, I said they were going to win 88 games and miss the playoffs. They have 87 wins right now. They would have to lose their last 4 games, or maybe even win one of the last 4 and get 88 wins, and then Detroit would have to win out and knock them off so they don't get in. Now, they have a 2-game lead over Detroit, so Detroit needs to win the next 4 games. So listen, my prediction can still come true, and I don't want it to come true for the obvious, make the playoffs and make everybody feel good around here. But if it happens, it's going to be I told you so. And Frank at the beginning of the year had them at 92 wins, and he had them in the World Series, and not even close. 92 wins was an overreach, I think, because everybody got all excited when they got Bregman, who has had a decent year. He's had a good year overall, but he's had some struggles. He was injured, but you got to give him some credit. They've been scrappy. Going back to the Tampa Bay series, they took 2 out of 3. They got a good outing out of Crochet, 6 innings, 3 runs, 12 strikeouts. They had a young guy, Connolly Early. Not Connolly Early. Who's the other kid? I lost his name. Kyle Harrison. Sorry, Kyle Harrison came in and pitched pretty good. 6 innings, 1 run. He was one of the guys they acquired in the Devers trade, I believe. So it's nice to see the young guys making a contribution. I don't know if they can continue it. He wasn't as good. Connolly Early had a good start a couple weeks ago. His last start wasn't as good. It's like, and Peyton Tolle, he got banished to the bullpen after 2 or 3 bad starts after his real good start. So they got to get more out of these guys if they're going to do anything in the playoffs. And so I guess we're going to find out over the next couple games. Because those guys, I think it's Connolly Early, probably tomorrow, and then Harrison probably Saturday, I'm guessing. So we'll see. We'll see how it shakes out. But one guy that's really not performing well is Brian Bayo. His last 2 starts, actually for all 3 of his starts in September, he's got a 5.85 ERA. He's kind of turned into a pumpkin. And he gave up a run already, and he loaded the bases right before we came on. So they definitely need better out of him. I don't know what his issue is, but without, there was a stretch between like June and like late August where Crochet, Giolito, and Bayo were like among the best 3 starters in baseball, if not the best 3 combined starters. They had probably the most wins and the most the lowest ERA combined. And now Giolito, he's another one. He can't get through 5 innings. He can't get through the 5th. He only pitched 4 2/3 innings in the last couple starts. So he's another guy that's kind of turning into a pumpkin. That's bad news if you're going to be in the wild card. Fortunately, we still have the ace. So Giolito pitched the first game 2 nights ago in Toronto. He didn't get out of the 5th inning, so he didn't get the win. He gave 4 walks, not good. But they got the win, so they won the first game. And then last night, Crochet, I'll say this, it finally feels good to have a true ace. We haven't had one in a while. 8 innings, 3 hits, no walks, 6 strikeouts, 100 pitches. Real solid, saved the bullpen. As long as he doesn't have to pitch again before the playoffs, he's finished the season with an 18-5 record. I think 200 something strikeouts, 225 strikeouts, or 245 strikeouts. I forget what the number is. 259 maybe. I don't know. I forget the number, but 2.59 ERA. All in the top 5 in the league. So he's definitely a candidate for Cy Young Award. It's basically between him and Tariq Skubal, I think, who's for Detroit. I forget how many wins he has, but he's got a lower ERA. He's got a lot of strikeouts. He's like right behind Crochet. So he's in the top 5 in a bunch of categories too. I don't know how it's going to shake out, but it'll be nice to see. It'll be nice to see Crochet get the W. And I will mention this. Larry Whalen, who's a member of our group, he said that Trevor Story is the MVP for the team. It's hard to argue with that. He's had his best offensive year here in Boston. 24, 25 home runs, 95 RBIs as of today. His defense has been really good up until the last couple of games. He's had some flubs, but overall he's had a really solid season. So I think that after the playoffs, maybe we'll do a poll question, and we can do it this week for the end of the season, and we can put who everybody thinks the MVP is. I can tell you the top 3 off the top of my head would be Trevor Story, Garrett Crochet, and Aroldis Chapman. All worthy. Aroldis Chapman, just insanely good for a guy like him at his age to come in and have a 1 point, something 1.1 whatever it is ERA, and be lights out the way he's been. Sorely needed on this team. And not that Kenley Jansen was garbage when he was here, but he wasn't never that good. And that's something that, look, I hop on this a lot. I hate the closer by committee mentality. I can't stand it. You always need to have a true closer, and he's done a really good job. So I'm pretty happy with that. I want to say as of right now, if they were to start the playoffs, it's Toronto. In Toronto, what I heard earlier from the guys on the game there doing the announcement. So keep your fingers crossed, and let's hope they make it. And now I'm going to explain why I kind of don't want them to make it. And of course, this will draw some backlash, but I don't want the owners or the front office to be patting themselves on the back, gloating, thinking that their system with all the analytics and, all the 300 people they got hired to run all these numbers and do all this nonsense and make them think that their system works or their methodology works or whatever it is. I'm still not a fan of it. I don't like it. And I'm kind of torn between when you watch the Red Sox, the times that they strike out a lot, looks like they're swinging for the fences. It looks like they're not engaged in the at-bats. They struggle. They don't knock runs in. They don't hit the ball the opposite way. And then you watch games like the last 3 or 4 or 5 games they've played, they're hitting the ball the other way. Multiple guys are getting multiple hits. One guy that's like really caught fire is Matsusaka, who when he first got penciled into the cleanup spot, I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? What are you putting him there for? He's not going to do squat, but all he's done is get hits. I think he's 9 for his last 23. He hit a home run last night. He kills Toronto pitching. I think he's hitting like 366 or something against them for his career. So, once again, negative Ned wrong. Alex Cora, right, pushing the right button, putting him in there. And he's caught fire at the right time. Losing Roman Anthony for the last month of the season and getting a guy like Matsusaka to come in and light things up. That's a huge help. So look, they're making their push, and we got to keep our fingers crossed that they don't flub it away and gag it. I'm torn because one hand I want them to make it, on the other hand I don't. But I think I want them to make it. I'm going to lean more that way. I want to see Crochet pitch, in the wild card game in the first game, and see what he can do. I would not expect the Red Sox to win the first series, especially if it's in Toronto again. They've had the Red Sox number most of the year. The Red Sox came into that series, this current series, 3 for 10, 3-7 against them, and they won these last 2 nights. But they've had trouble with Toronto over the last few years. So I don't know. And if anybody's been to Toronto, to the I still call it the Sky Dome. I think it's called the Rogers Center now. If anybody's ever been there to watch a game, it's awesome. I went once, and they had the roof open, and you get to see the tower right next to it. And it was July; it was wicked nice out. It's a good place to watch a ball game. So, again, they're another team that their atmosphere. I think they missed. I don't know if they missed the playoffs or not last year, but that's a team that they're like the Red Sox. They need that buzz. So, kind of looking forward to see what they can do. The issues the Red Sox have with their pitching is probably going to do them in. I don't see if Giolito and Bayo don't give them anything in the following 2 games in the wild card, they ain't going to make it. And the other guys, the young guys, are too young, in my opinion, to pick up the slack. And the bullpen still has issues. I still don't like Weiser coming in, especially with guys on base. He's been horrible. And Zach Kelly, again, why is he still here? I have no idea. Those guys are 2 guys that really get on my nerves when I watch them come in. And I have to hop on this too, the errors that they've been making. Let's see this. All right, hold on, Danny. I'll get to you in a second. The errors that they've been making kill them. They just can't afford them. I mean, and I will give Romy Gonzalez an ounce of credit because he has played better at second base. He made some really good plays the other night. But he's a guy that sometimes a routine ground ball, he doesn't handle it. And, right now Trevor Story's all over the place unexpectedly. They can't afford miscues. You can't afford to give the other team extra outs. And so I don't know how that's going to work. They're still amongst the leaders in errors. And, again, David Hamilton, he's another guy. Romy Gonzalez is swinging a hot bat, so Hamilton hasn't been playing as much. And, one of the games they brought him in as a defensive replacement. I hear, the commentators like, oh, defensive stalwart replace. I'm like, what? Guy, are you watching? I'm like, no. He's not. He's not a defensive stalwart replacement guy. Well, he would have been sent back to Worcester earlier in the year. The only reason he's here is because Marcelo Maya got hurt. So still not sold on him. He's good for speed when you need a pinch runner late in the game. That's about all he's worth, in my opinion. So they have issues. The only good thing that they have is they have Alex Cora at the helm, who's playoff ready and playoff tested. So I think that gives them an edge over Toronto for sure, or most of the other teams that they would play, other than the Yankees. And the Red Sox have owned the Yankees all year, so there's some scuttlebutt amongst sports radio and so forth that they want the Yankees to win the division and have the Red Sox play them, but the Yankees get a bye in the first round. So I don't know. I think they probably want the Yankees to lose so that they end up playing the Red Sox in the first round, not win the division. All right, let's see. Of course, we want them to get in the playoffs. Yes, okay. Baseball in Toronto because the Leafs suck. That's a good one. The Leafs suck. No argument here. You want to talk about, choke artists. Those guys are right up there. We'll have plenty of time to talk about them when we start talking Bruins, believe me. So listen, there are some things to look forward to, hopefully, and we'll have a end of season wrap up at some point too, and we'll see how they do. Let's move things along. We're going to move along to the Patriots. much as I don't really want to. Ugly loss Sunday against the Steelers. Um, you know, I'll give you the three keys to the game that I had before everything started. I said take advantage of bad Pittsburgh defense. Their defense was bad the previous two games. They got torched. Gave a bunch of points. Run the ball down their throats. Couldn't do it. Couldn't stop turning the ball over. We'll get to that in a second. And the last key I had was special teams. And the kicker, Borregales, can't miss any kicks. Well, he didn't have to worry about missing any kicks. He only had 2 extra points to worry about. He made them both. He didn't have any field goal attempts, so nothing going on there. Now, the observations, the 3 takeaways from the game, the 5 turnovers, totally unacceptable. The fumbles, Ramondre Stevenson, 2 more fumbles again. He's got 9 fumbles in his last 18 games. He led the league last year with 7 fumbles. You cannot turn the ball over the way he did. Opening drive, they drive and he fumbles the ball away. Pittsburgh takes it down the other way for a score. Very costly turnover. And then later on in the game, when the Patriots at the goal line and they had a chance to tie the game, he fumbled again and cost them points. So, they're killers. They're absolute killers. And then on the ensuing possession for the Patriots, Gibson fumbles. So 3 fumbles, 2 on back-to-back possessions. Just can't have it. You just can't have it. And then, later on in the half, Drake May threw an interception. The ball was tipped. I argue that when it got tipped, it kind of changed the trajectory in a downward motion a little bit for the guy to pick it off. Others have said, nope, he should have went somewhere else with the ball. The guy wasn't really open, this and that. I think he had him wide open. If that ball is not tipped, there's a pretty good chance it's going to be a touchdown. But either way, you just can't have a turnover there. It's 12 seconds left in the half. You're getting ready to go in for a score. They left points on the table again twice in a short period of time. So, no good. I mean, it's just they're beating themselves again. I feel like I'm watching last year's team, and it doesn't feel good. It's very frustrating. They should be better than this. And, I'm telling you right now, I would have had Stevenson's bags packed at halftime. He would have been gone. And when they came out for the second half, I wouldn't have used him. Now, they did not cut him, and I don't think they're going to yet. So we'll have to see what happens this week. But, they get, Pittsburgh gets they get the fumble on the opening kickoff. They go down, they go up 7-0. Then on the next drive, Drake May got sacked, forced a punt. Pittsburgh went down, got a touchdown. So back-to-back touchdowns. It's 14-0. It's not looking good. Defense can't get stops. They didn't look good at all. And I want to say it was the second touchdown to DK Metcalf, who's 6'4", 220, whatever it is, and the guy covering him was, undersized, overmatched. It kind of reminds me of Plaxico Burress in the Super Bowl when the Giants beat the Patriots, and I forget who the corner was there, but they left him in one-on-one coverage, and it was a mismatch, a height mismatch badly. Without Christian Gonzalez, those matchups are tough. So you got no chance of winning those one-on-one matchups with a guy like DK Metcalf or anybody else that's tall like that. So they put themselves in a hole. They did come back. They came down and made it 14-7. Drake May hit Hunter Henry for a touchdown. He had a really good game. 8 receptions, 90 yards, 2 touchdowns. Really solid. But they need more from everybody else. other guys need to do more. Keishon Boutte was kind of a non-factor. They need more from him. Pop Douglas, um, again, another guy. I don't know, 2 catches for 7 yards or something. I mean, ridiculous, dude. I'm ready to pull the plug on him too, and I like him. I like him a lot, but he's not doing anything. I mean, put in Efton Chisholm, make a switch, try something different. That's kind of a good point, Danny. It is frustrating, but at least there's no Mac Jones, who incidentally is 2-0, by the way, which I'm shocked by. I didn't have that. I didn't have that in my queue. And Stevenson had one bad game, but he had a lot of bad games last year too, and he can't afford another bad game. I say if he fumbles, if he fumbles in the next game or two, he's got to be gone. They can't afford to keep him and have him keep fumbling the game away. I mean, and he pretty much said, you know, if I can't take care of the ball, they don't need me. So he's aware of it. You know, it could be listen, again, I dog these guys on here, but it's not personal, right? He could be having a personal issue we don't know about. Anything could be happening, right, outside of the game itself. So, you know, the Patriots, you know, Vrabel and so forth, they're going to be a little more lenient. You know, they don't, you know, they're a lot less hasty than I am to make that kind of a switch. Just because we have no patience and we got spoiled by all the winning and we're tired of losing and we're tired of beating ourselves. So it's extremely frustrating, and I don't want to see it anymore. So he would have to have like no fumbles, and I mean, if he fumbled in the last game of the year, then at least you could say, hey, he fixed it for the most part. But if he's fumbling in the next 1 or 2 games, no, done. Max 2-0. I can't believe it either. Bring back James White. I wish we could. And that's another thing. Travion Henderson hasn't been able to live up to the hype. I think that teams saw him in the preseason and they realized that, okay, we got to do something to stop this guy. So he's not getting the big breakaway speed plays that he was getting in the exhibition season. So I think the teams are really trying to key in on him. But he should still be, you know, kind of the James White, so to speak, Danny, as the third down back. I think he's talented enough and good enough to keep that role. They haven't had anybody else for a while like him, like James White. So I want to see more of him. I don't know how they do it, but, you know, it would be nice if he could, you know, break away some big plays, some 20-yard plays. They need more from everybody. You know, Stephon Diggs has been okay, right? Yeah, I would say not great. But also, you know, you can't force feed him the ball and make a bunch of turnovers. You know, we see what happens when you try too hard to get one guy the ball and become kind of one-dimensional. The other teams figure it out real quick, and it doesn't work. You know, and some people, they don't like the dink and dunk, hit the open guy stuff, but that's what works. If you look around the league, maybe they're not dink and dunk plays, but they're hitting the open guy. Whoever's open's getting the ball. So that's not a mystery for anybody. So if he's open, he's going to get the ball. If he's not open and somebody else is open, that's part of it too. I mean, he's going to get extra coverage. He's a top guy, so, you know, it comes with the territory. He's got to be aware of it already. But, you know, could they use a little more from him? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, but right now, the turnovers are just way too much to overcome. You just can't have them. So, you know, the start of the fourth, you know, the start of the fourth quarter, they're at the 16-yard line. It's 4th and 2, and I'm like yelling at my TV for them to kick the field goal and put the points on the board just so they have something. And me and Frank were going back and forth a little bit. He was like, "No, they should go for it," and he was right, and I was wrong, because then Drake May hit Hunter Henry for a touchdown and tie the game. But you know, at that point, because they were squandering the scoring opportunities. I was just like, do something, put points on the board. Don't get down in that area again and get nothing. So kudos to them. They were 4 for 5 on fourth down. Unfortunately, one of those fourth downs was 4th and 1. 4th and 1. I had it here. Hold on. At the Pittsburgh 28, 4th and 1 at the Pittsburgh 28 with 107 left, and Pop Douglas gets the ball. All he has to do is lean forward, fall down, get the first down pretty much. What does he do? He goes backwards, tries to juke the guy, gets tackled, gets no yards, game over. Listen, sometimes you just got to stop trying to do too much and trying to overdo it. And just take what's there, take what the defense is giving you. That's one of those things he should learn from. And also, I don't know how many times I've seen this, because the Patriots are not the only team that does this. Almost all teams do it. They throw the ball short of the first down marker. They do it on third down too. It's 3rd and 5. What do? They throw it 2 yards. The guy gets tackled 2 yards short. They don't get the first down. Or they throw it 40 yards and they get nothing. On 3rd and 2, 3rd and 1, 3rd and 5. They're throwing these long bombs. I mean, all the short yardage situations should be get over the line and get the first down. No plays should be thrown behind the line unless you have somebody that can really make people miss. And I'm talking top tier wide receivers like Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, Stephon Diggs when he was with Buffalo. Not now. I'm not saying he can't do it, but he's not the same guy. Why do these guys throw it short? Get over the line. You don't have a big guy like Gronk that could power his way through. Gronk would have caught that ball and threw the guy out of the club and ran for another 15 yards. You don't have that. So listen, I'm tired of seeing them come up short. They got to fix that. Drake May, he's another one. Like, look, dude, I don't know what that play was where he fumbled with 7 minutes left. They're in Pittsburgh territory. Multiple times you're in Pittsburgh territory, came away with no points. I mean, they should have put minimum 28 points on the board. Minimum. They should have won that game 28-14. And they couldn't capitalize. And Drake May getting sacked and tried to shovel pass it to who? I have no idea. I didn't see nobody in the screen. So I don't know who he was trying to get it to. But dude, how about no? You got to stop fumbling the ball. You're almost as bad as Mac Jones. You're getting worse. We can't afford those turnovers. Just take it and eat the ball. Don't. You're not Brett Favre, shovel pass, Patrick Mahomes. You ain't there yet, buddy. You're Josh Allen. You're gonna get there, but you ain't there yet. So, just eat it. Eat it. Take the sack. Take the loss. Move on. Live another play. Because those fumbles, those turnovers are extremely costly. And again, beating yourself. The offensive line struggled at times, gave up 5 sacks. I mean, wasn't completely ugly like last year, but they had a tough day against TJ Watt, which it's known coming in you're gonna have a tough day at the office with that guy. Right, but it wasn't just him. There was a couple other guys that got in there. So look, that's something else that they got to clean it up. You can't give up 5 sacks. You can't let the other teams get their hands on Drake May and force the fumbles. So you got to get it cleaned up. I will say this: I don't know what kind of an adjustment they made on the defense, but after the second touchdown, they gave up They stopped Pittsburgh on 8 straight drives, and the defense actually looked like what we thought they were going to look like. Robert Spillane makes an interception on Aaron Rodgers, and brings it back and puts the Patriots in Pittsburgh territory. Excuse me. And that's where they couldn't capitalize. That's where Stevenson fumbled, but the defense definitely looked better. Spillane had a good game overall. But then when it counted and it's the last drive or whatever, and they got to make a stop, they couldn't make the stop, and it's the same issue they had last year. It gets to like crunch time, and it gets to time to man up and make some stops, and they can't make them. So that definitely needs to get rectified. If the defense could make some stops there, maybe you're getting the ball back, and it's tied, and you have a shot to win. And that's really all you're looking for. So they definitely have work to do in what I'll call situational football, right? Those late game drives. Again, they did a good job in the middle portion of the game after the first 2 touchdowns, and they stopped them on 8 straight drives. But they got to do a better job late in the game, and especially if they have the lead, they can't choke it away. Strong fullback would be great. Yeah, you know what? They haven't had one of them since James Devlin, I don't think. I know they've tried to use like tight ends and call him the H-back and this and that. And I forget the guy's name they have on the roster. I'm not even going to try because I totally whiffed. I'll get his name for next week. But I'm not sure if he was hurt or they just didn't use him there. But yeah, you want to have a guy in there to help plow the way for whoever the running back is, whether it's Stevenson or anybody. You don't have a guy like Devlin anymore. That guy was just, he was kind of like trying to think of the guy from the Bears. I got Matsui stuck in my head. I don't know if that's the right guy, but they had a fullback guy that was the lead blocker for Walter Payton, and he was awesome. So listen, they need to do something there if they want to run. And listen, they're better at run blocking than they are at pass blocking. There's no reason they shouldn't be running the ball down people's throats in certain situations and road grade them. They did last year on occasion. They would load up one side of it got one dimensional, but they loaded up one side of the line and they ran it right at them, and the other team couldn't do anything. I mean, you need some of that. I also, and I know this is a stretch, but in certain situations, I want to see them go no huddle. When the clock is ticking and the time's running down, and there's like a minute left and you're trying to score, why is there no huddle or some variation of it, but not quite it completely? And I think part of it is, for some reason, the refs are letting the defensive teams make substitutions. And I don't know what the rule is now, but, Peyton Manning would use the hurry up, and the defense couldn't make a substitution, and you didn't have a chance to do anything. And even Aaron Rodgers, early in his career, would take advantage of that. So there's something going on there I need to pay a little bit more attention to. I noticed it where, sometimes teams, this is across a whole bunch of games, not just Patriots games, where the team is trying to hurry up, but the ref is like holding up his arm, holding up play, and letting these guys sub in and out, and then and then it's like, wait a minute, how do you run the hurry up offense if you let them make substitutions? That defeats the whole purpose of taking advantage of the defense being tired. So I need to get a little better understanding of that, and I need to know why the Patriots can't utilize it more. I mean, I understand they have young guys on the left side of the line, but you can't tell me that in college they never ran any hurry up in any of the games they played. So they have to be used to it. So I don't know. I want to see more explosive. I mean, Drake May was fine. I don't know, 26 of 37 or something for, 260 something yards or 280 yards, whatever it is okay. But they need some more explosive plays. They need to connect more on third down. I think they're only 6 out of 13 on third down. That's not good enough. And they left plays on offense, and they left points on the board, and they beat themselves again. There was a few penalties sprinkled in there too. Overall, they had 7 penalties, way too many. They got to find a way to get through games where they have 5 or less penalties. particularly on offense. And you know something else that hurt too? On defense, early in the game, they had Aaron Rodgers sacked for a loss, and Marcus Jones cut blocked one of the players on Pittsburgh and got a 15-yard penalty and kept the drive alive for them. So those are the kind of things you just can't have. I forgot to mention that too as part of the issue early in the game where they had Pittsburgh stopped, and you gave him an extra set of downs and gave him life. Can't be doing that, you know. Um, I don't know how Vrabel's going to fix it, but they got to fix it soon, or you know, they have to win this week. This week is a must-win, in my opinion. I know we're going to get to the predictions and whatnot later, but they have to get a W. They can't be 1-3 going into Buffalo next week. Next week they're playing Buffalo Sunday night in Buffalo. Not a friendly environment, and I have no hope for them winning that game. So if you're going to tell me they're going to start the season 1-4, then and they're playing as bad as they are, and they're fumbling the ball and turning it over, and they're getting penalties up the wazoo, they're right back where they were last year, and they'll be lucky to win 6 games. And I don't want that to be the case. You know, they have to be better. They have to turn this around. They have to get a W this week. You know, early in the season in week 4, if you're telling me if there's a must win, yes, it's a must win. Look, other teams are in the same boat too. Kansas City and Baltimore are playing each other. One of those teams is going to be 1-3 after that game. So both those teams early in the year, it's kind of a must win for 2 reasons. One, you don't want to start 1-3, and 2, later on, if there's a tiebreaker for the playoffs and you guys are both in it, the team that wins that game is going to have the edge. So these games, I know that the first month or so is kind of like preseason still. Everybody's still trying to find their way. Nobody knows who's any good yet, but you can't slack. You know, the Patriots are not in a position to lose to a team that they shouldn't lose to. Carolina's not that good. I know they won 30-0 last week over Atlanta, but that's a team you should beat. You know, they're going to be in the top 5 or 6 in the draft at the end of the year. Bryce Young's not that good. He's not better than Drake May, in my opinion, by a mile. So the Patriots have the edge at quarterback. I know that they have some receivers. I think the running back is a decent guy. They have to be able to stop the run. So, look, the defense has to do its job this week. They can't give up big plays. They can't give up momentum. They can't have costly penalties that keep drives alive for them. You know, the Patriots defense should somehow be able to slow them down and give them really nothing. I mean, my opinion personally is the Patriots should win the game like 24-13 or something. They should be giving them nothing, you know, and we should be able to capitalize on opportunities and score. So that's my thought on you know where they should be. I mean, if they lose this week, if you think this loss was ugly, wait till you see the negativity around here, and they're 1-3. I'll tell you right now, going into October, that's going to be ridiculous. That's going to be bad news for everybody around here. So I kind of thought the Patriots would be 2-2 to start the year. I really thought that they'd lose the first 2 games and win the next 2. They shocked me by winning Miami. That was a shock and a half. I didn't see that coming. I figured they'd beat the Steelers because they have a habit of beating them. For some reason, they've had their number going all the way back to when Bill Cowher was coaching, Belichick was coaching them. So I don't know. I mean, stranger things have happened. It's the NFL. Listen, I just Danny, if they lose this week, I'm not watching the next podcast. Well, you might not want to because Negative Ned's going to be negative Ned over here, and it's funny that you say that because the week the Patriots played Miami, I was listening to sports radio, and they have a guy that comes on every week, and one of the radio hosts there said if the Patriots lose in Miami, you're not allowed to come back for the rest of the season. So they were gonna, I don't know, I think they were kidding, but they were gonna ban him from coming back if the Patriots lost down in Miami. I thought that was funny. So this, this, this commentary here, I know you're joking. So look, this commentary here is funny to me. That if they lose, you're not gonna watch. And listen, no one's going to want to hear what anybody has to say if they lose, especially if they keep making the stupid mistakes they're making. They're supposed to be better than this, cleaning it up, and we're still waiting for it. And so all the excitement and enthusiasm we've had going into the season is getting squashed, and it's not good. It's not a good place to be. And those uniforms, let me tell you something. I like those uniforms, the old school red uniforms with the Pat Patriot, but they should be banned from wearing them again until they start winning Super Bowls. The whole idea from changing from that uniform to the Flying Elvis uniform, the current one, is to get rid of the bad juju and get mojo and get some different juju. And so I have to give credit where credit is due. Frank does another show daily, show with comedians. I've been on it. I've been fortunate to be on that show with those guys. It's called Box Seats. It's on every day from 5 to 6 on Facebook and Instagram and YouTube. And filmmaker Jason Hayes came up with the phrase I'm going to start using for the Boston teams around here, either for teams play or individual players. And I'm going to use it for the Patriots for last week. Ramondre Stevenson was doo-doo juice. He was doo-doo juice, and the team was doo-doo juice with the 4 fumbles and 5 turnovers. And so that's the new phrase I'm going to start using, and I have to give full credit to Jason Hayes. Thank you for that, because that's going to come in handy around here. So listen, we don't want any more doo-doo juice. We're getting tired of that. But I don't want them wearing them uniforms again. I loved it when, the Patriots were winning, and Tom Brady and Teddy Bruschi and Willie McGinnis and those guys wore them, and they would wear them on Thanksgiving, and they were wearing them and they were winning. But seeing that game with those uniforms on just brought me right back to like the 70s and 80s Patriots, or the Dick McPherson, Rod Rust, 2-14, 1-15 teams. Those uniforms need to be retired until we win another Super Bowl. Win another Super Bowl, then bring those uniforms back. That's the only time it should be allowed now. That's it. I don't want to see him again. So maybe we'll make that a poll question too, whether they should continue to be allowed to use those uniforms. Well, I'll put that up this week for this week. All right, let me move along. Watching the time here as we run out of time, I do want to get to a little. I'm superstitious, yeah. Sometimes, yeah. A little bit of Bruins news. They have finally started their exhibition season. We can finally start talking about a little bit of hockey. Bear with me here. Look, I'm going to say this because this is exactly what I saw. The first game they played Sunday against Washington, they definitely look like doo-doo juice. They look like crap. They look just like they did last year. They fell behind 4-1 in the first period. They hung the poor goalie out to dry, DiPietro. I saw one of the goals. Guy, for them, the other team, Capitals, had the puck in the corner, passes it. Our guy is right there. The pass either goes through his leg or between his stick and goes right to the guy behind him. So he's not covering the guy behind him. He's covering a guy he probably shouldn't have been covering. The guy behind him gets it, roofs it right over. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. I'm like, I can't watch 80 games of that all year long. I don't want to watch that again. And I understand, most of the regulars, or none of them. I mean, some of them did play. I think most of the Morgan Geeky played in that game, and I think he scored one of the goals. And some of the new guys played. The Ocean State job lot bums, as I call them, Tanner Janot, Mikey Eismont, and some of the other guys. They just look like crap. I will say, when they scored the second goal, Eismont, who's fighting for probably the third or fourth line spot, he picked off a pass and went in all alone, scored a nice goal. Roofed the backhand over the goalie. Real good, real nice goal. But I'd be shocked if he was going to be scoring 20 or 25 goals. That'd be a miracle. I mean, he's not that good. So look, I don't know. I just didn't like what I saw. And what's aggravating for me is, I want DiPietro here because if the Bruins try to slip him through to Providence, he has to clear waivers first, and somebody's going to scoop him up. And you're talking about the guy that was the best goalie in the AHL last year. So they either have to carry 3 goalies or they got to make another move. And the move I wanted them to make, again, this is the second time now, is to trade Korpisalo. I don't know why we need to hang on to him. I would love to have DiPietro as the backup. He's better than him. So I don't get it. I don't know what's going on there. But if the defense plays the way they do, it doesn't matter who's in net. You can have Patrick Roy in net. You can have Ken Dryden in net. You can have, Jerry Cheevers in net. It's not going to matter. Defense can't give up opportunities like the way they did and fall behind 4-1. You're not going anywhere. So, same thing last night. I put the game on. They're behind 4-1. I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? What are you guys doing? I'm shocked that they came back and won the game 5-4 in overtime, and I wasn't going to stay awake for it. So, they're down 4-1. I'm like, they're dead meat. I'm like, and I understand. I got some back and forth with Danny, and he said, hey, Korpisalo let up a couple of softies. If that's the case, then all the more reason to get rid of him. But to me, behind 4-1, not going to cut it. I don't know how they did it. I don't know how they came back because I didn't see it. But that is encouraging, and I will give them an ounce of credit for that. And so it's good that they have no quit. And I saw the replay of the Zadorov goal. He scored the winner in overtime. Real nice goal. So I'll give him some credit. Hopefully he's better this year than he was the last year. So listen, I understand. I say it all the time. It's a marathon, not a sprint. The Bruins could be 20-0 in the first 20 games, and I'm still going to tell you it's a marathon, not a sprint. I'm still going to tell you they're not going to win the Stanley Cup in December because that's not when they're won. They're won in the spring, in May and June. So, look, nobody wants to see them finish in last place again unless they are truly tanking, and Frank did ask this last year, and he may ask it again depending upon how bad they're playing. And I heard that idea floated around. That they may be tanking so they get the number 1 guy, and I don't even know his name right now. I'd have to look him up, but let's see. Good news for me: Grizzly turned down a PTO with the Bruins. Well, good, because I don't even know why they would do that. I don't even know why they would offer him a tryout. That they don't need to. So that's good. Eismont had a good game. Yeah, he had a good game. First game, excited, blah, blah, whatever. But, when we start the regular season, I want to see where these guys slot so I can get a better idea what's going on with them. And I don't know how much of the regulars we're going to see. Maybe the last game or the game before it. So the last couple games, they're playing Saturday against Philadelphia. That's their 3rd preseason game. I think they only have 6. Then they start on October 8th. So they got roughly another week and a half, maybe 2. I'll say 2 weeks, right? 2 weeks from today, I think they start. regular season. So we'll have to see how that shakes out. Says he can't stop a beach ball. Yep, I would agree. You'll get no argument here from me on that. So I don't really have anything else to add on the Bruins until I start watching more of their games, which hopefully I'll get a chance to do Saturday night. I will not. So I may have to catch the replay somehow. So we'll see. Let's move on to the poll questions. Let's see. I forget what we had for poll questions. Where is it? Oh, you know what? I didn't put it in here. I apologize. I don't remember what it is. I don't have it in my notes. So I'll have to review that next week. Which means now we're on to the weekly predictions. Let's see. Last week's predictions. Where's last week's predictions? Oh boy, get ready. Let's see. Pats will force Aaron Rodgers to throw 2 INTs. Wrong. He only threw 1. Henderson gets his first NFL touchdown. Wrong. He can't seem to find the end zone all of a sudden. I said the Patriots would win 27-24. Wrong. Didn't happen. I said the Red Sox would win 2 of 3 versus Tampa, but lose the first 2 to Toronto. Wrong. They took 2 of 3, and they won the first 2 in Toronto, so they've won 4 of their last 5. And I said that Cleveland would overtake the Red Sox for the last wild card spot. Wrong. Cleveland has actually overtaken Detroit for the division lead, and so now Detroit's fighting for the 3rd wild card spot, so that thing got all flipped upside down on me. So now I'll move on to this week's predictions. Of course, I don't have them ready this week like I usually do, so I'm just going to go off the cuff. I'm going to go on a limb. I'm going to say the Patriots are going to win 24-13. I'm going to stick with the Henderson gets his first NFL touchdown. He's got to get one sooner or later. It's 4 weeks now. He's got to get something. So I'm going to predict that for him. I'm going to say the Red Sox will make the wild card. And by the time we come back next week, they will have lost 2 of the 3 wild card games they're supposed to play. And I forget how many games now. I don't know if it's 3 out of 5, 2 out of 3. I forget what it is, but they're going to lose 2 out of those games maybe because I think they start on Tuesday, so maybe they're going to win. I think they have a chance to win with Crochet, so maybe they'll split. Maybe they'll split the first 2 games by the time we come back. All right, so let's put that in there. Let's see. What else do we got? I don't know. I'm running out of options, so I don't want to tie things up. I don't have it ready when I need to. I'm sorry. You know what? I say Stevenson is benched, which is not a shock, right? I say he's benched at the beginning of the game at least, and they go with Gibson to start the game. And the next guy that fumbles is getting benched for the rest of the game. Gibson fumbles, he's done. Not going back in. So I don't know. I don't. What? Yeah, I don't know. All right. I don't really have anything else. Kind of going off the cuff here, but we're gonna wrap things up. Want to thank everybody for tuning in. Thank you for the support. Thanks for the commentary. Thanks for voting the polls. Thanks for your participation. Make sure to check us out on YouTube. Danny, thanks for your help again as usual. And Be sure to check us out on YouTube, and we'll see you guys next week.